You're probably not going to want to have all of your HTML smushed up inside here in this controller. That would get really ugly if you had to type doc type, HTML, blah, 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 and all that other stuff. Instead, we're going to take this HTML and we're going to put it in a separate file. And then instead of just rendering a piece of text, we're going to tell it to render that other file. So let me show you what I mean. Go ahead and inside this app folder, open up the views folder. Then inside this views folder, you're going to create another folder. So right inside views, and make sure you're inside views, you're not inside views/layouts, just inside views. You're going to create a new folder called lists. So again, that's lists plural, not singular. Inside that lists folder, I want you to create a new file, app/views/lists. It's very important that it's in exactly the right location. You're going to call it index.html.erb. Then go ahead and take this HTML that you have in your list controller and put it inside this index.html.erb file. And then I'm going to space it out a little bit more. The one other change we're going to make here is we're going to change this from render text to render index. And that's actually it. Now, if I refresh this page, it looks almost exactly the same. But if I look at the source code, and again, that's Command Option U, I can see that there is a whole bunch of HTML in here. All this HTML is coming from this layouts file right here, this layouts/application.html.erb. If I put hello world in here, you can see that hello world also shows up right there, and it shows up on my site. There's also this goofy %=yield tag in here. So we're going to be seeing much more of these percent tags later on, but this is basically telling Rails, take this index file right here, take its entire contents, and then basically just copy and paste it right where this yield is. And so that's the result that we see right here is the contents of this file basically just copied and pasted right here. If you don't have that yield, then what do you think we're going to see here? We're going to see all of this other HTML on here, but nothing from this index.html.erb. So you have to have this %=yield in order for your page to show up. So you already know a pretty good amount of what you can do with Rails. You already have a way of making some pretty complicated pages that have lots of different views, lots of different sort of sub pages in them. That is, you can make a website that has lots of different pages on that site. It's all going to be this exact format. You're just going to create more files inside this lists folder or inside some other folder in here, and then it's going to show up in here. Also, this is where we're really seeing the power of the backend. So notice that there are a whole bunch of other little %= things back here, but you can't see them in here. The whole point of the backend is to change HTML before your users get it, or to change data before your users get it. Someone viewing your app has no idea that all of these different %= tags are in here. Your Rails server is replacing each of these %= tags with some piece of data, then it's sending that HTML to your users. All your users know about, their entire world, is just what you see right here in the source code. They have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, which is all this stuff. So this seems pretty benign right now, like there's not a whole lot of point to it. But if you think about passwords and bank information and everything, this gives you a way of processing that information without users seeing the code you're using to process that information. You can manipulate all sorts of data on the back end, and your users don't have any idea how you're manipulating that data. They're not privy to the code that's taking place on the back end. So pretty small steps right now, but it's a very powerful concept. All right, so I'm going to make another commit. So I'm going to git add, git commit. As I'm doing that, please notice that I've left this Rails S running right here. This tab is going to get pretty long, but just leave Rails S running. You don't need to worry about it. You just type it once, hit enter, and then you can pretty much just forget about it. All right, so I'm going to call this commit message and making a list index view its own file that uses a layout.